My principal tried to get me fired, so I got her fired from the district. I was in my mid-20s, fresh out of grad school and ready to start my teaching career. I got a job at a Title I elementary school near my home teaching art, and I was super excited that I could walk to work. However, I was so far into la la land that I didn't notice any of the warning signs. Warning sign number 1. It was a week before school started and I had called and emailed the school office staff and my principal to ask about getting my keys and badge so I can start seeing what I needed to do to get ready for the school year. No response and no answer from either. So I called the district office and asked when and where I could pick up my keys and badge. 2 days before school starts I get an email from my admin that I should have been more patient and not have contacted the main office about my keys and badge. I finally got everything and was able to get into my room and was horrified with how much I had to get done. Apparently they had used my room as storage, so it was loaded with tables and desks stacked on top on each other, 8 filing cabinets, and well over 100 chairs stacked all around the room. I managed to clean out the space with help from my awesome custodian. Shout out to all custodians who are the secret backbones in helping teachers get ready for the school year. Hurdle number 1 finished. Warning sign number 2, it's now the day of classes starting, and I haven't been informed of what the schedules are, as in, which days I see certain classes and when. So I email my principal, again, asking what the schedule looks like and if there is a digital document that I can print out. I get an email back a few minutes later telling me to stop pressuring and bullying her. I replied, sorry if I was making her feel that way, but it would be nice to know what classes I had and when. This leads to warning sign number 3, it's 8:10 a.m., not 10 minutes after school started, and I finally get my schedule, only to find out that I have 2 classes, at the same time. Note my school isn't huge, but we still had 14 classes serving kinder 6th grade, so I was having at least 46 kids in one classroom by myself. Moreover, I had 7 45-minute periods a day and saw every class every day of the week, with only a 30-minute lunch. My lunch was when I was on lunch duty. I asked my principal if there was any way we could adjust the schedule, so I had time to plan and get the classroom ready for the next class and wouldn't lose instruction time getting things ready as the new class was coming in. I got yelled at by her with a class waiting outside saying it was my first year teaching and I didn't know what I needed and needed to just deal with it. Well, I decided not to just deal with it and I read the teacher's contract for the district. Come to find out we had a section about classroom size. It stipulated that if you had a class over 30 students you get to have an educational assistant to help you with the class. I brought this up with my principal after a month and a half of struggling and was, you guessed it, denied and told there was no money in the budget and I would have to make do without it or quit. Mind you, I am stubborn and determined to make things work with what little I have. But things were rough. In order to prep and plan everything for the next day, make meaningful grades, keep up with referrals, and keep in contact with families. I was having to be at the school from 6 a.m. when the morning custodian arrived, till 9 p.m. when the night janitor was leaving, on weekdays, and then also use my weekend time to continue to plan and grade. When I came time for my first teacher evaluation, I was dreading it. However, I got all satisfactory mark from my principal. I was shocked. Little did I know this was a plan she had all along. A few more weeks go past and I've had it. I talk with our union about the double classes and say it's not sustainable in a classroom my size can't safely fit more than 30 students, let alone 46 students. And they said they would handle it. And other few weeks go by and nothing. It's not the week of Thanksgiving and conferences are over and I get to not worry about anything for 2 days. So I decided to go to a potluck dinner with some old friends of mine. So here is the best part, and maybe the part that saved my career and even maybe my sanity. I was talking with one of an old acquaintance and his new husband about what teaching job I landed, and how the school year was going. I let it slip that even though my students were amazing and had such creative minds, it's frustrating to me that I don't have the time to give to them, that they deserve, and with 2 classes at once it's hard to get around to everyone in the class in just 45 minutes. I noticed the husband raise his eyebrow, and asked me what school I worked at, so I told him, what harm could it do, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between. Little did I know I was talking with my principal's supervisor. I found out the next Monday when my admin stormed into my room at 8:05 a.m. to scream and yell at me, threatening to fire me, and make sure I never work in education again. I was shocked and confused at the time. However, later that week at our staff meeting we talk about a change in the schedule and how only on class would be in my class at a time for an hour now, and I would only see them twice a week instead of all 5 days. It was magical. The kids were happier, I was calmed, was able to help each individual student if they needed it, and was able to plan enough throughout the day so I could leave at 4 p.m. Sad to say, my happiness didn't last forever. I noticed my principal stalking my room, and coming in non-stop to observe me. It was awkward. I also had a few of my very extroverted students come in quiet and unable to focus and work, but when I asked them if everything was okay they would burst into tears and say I don't want you to go. Being confused, my response was always, oh student name I have absolutely no intentions of going anywhere, you are all the best students a teacher could ever ask for. Which would cheer them up for a while, but then they would come in next week upset again. It all clicked when the day before we left for Christmas break, my principal came into my room with one of her minions, who was out building union representative, to tell me I was being put on a teacher support plan. This plan was to evaluate whether or not my contract with the district would be up for renewal at the end of the school year. I was shocked, and my union rep just snickered and walked away giggling with our admin. I felt sick, and abused, unable to feel any emotion. It wasn't until I got home and read when this plan detailed was I seeing red. I had hit my breaking point. This is when I started to formulate a plan of revenge. Check out the crazy revenge in part 2 posted now. In my auction and not pay? Oh, trust me, you're going to pay. I make art as a hobby. Metal sculptures. I only sell them when I need a bit of money for something. I had a holiday coming up, so listed one here on TradeMe, an auction site, for a $1 reserve. The auction lasted 10 days and the piece got quite a bit of interest in that time, with lots of people adding it to their watch list and bidding on it. It ended up selling for a bit over $500. Perfect. I contacted the winner with my bank details and asked for their delivery address. No reply. Email again. Nothing. I look into his profile a bit and sure enough he doesn't follow through on half things he buys. Fair few grumpy feedbacks from other sellers. He's a complete time waster, TW. I'm a bit pissed. I've already had to pay a listing fee, advertising fees and $40 success fee. I'll eventually get this back, but still annoying. And being in limbo on a deal sucks. You kind of expect the money and kind of don't at the same time. Got me raging. I googled his email. Nothing. I check if he has any listings for sale. He doesn't ATM. Besides give him bad feedback, there's not really much else I can do right now. I add him as a favorite seller. This way next time he lists something I'll get emailed about it, but he never does. About a year later, after I'd forgotten all about it, I get a bunch of emails from TradeMe telling me TW has new listings. Seems TW is packing up shop and moving to Australia. Seems everything has got to go, mate. Ironically, his listing states that everything must be picked up by end of August as I'm moving to Australia. No time wasters. He's got listings for a car, motorcycle, tools, a welder, some furniture, rims and a bunch of other stuff. I give his feedback another quick look to see if he's changed his ways. He hasn't. Over the following week I research what a good price would be for everything he lists. I share all his listings with my friends and get them to add his listing to their watch list so he thinks they are popular. Instruct them to go into a bidding war with me on each item up to a certain amount, but no further. I win all of his auctions using a bunch of false accounts. Lucky guy gets top dollar for everything. I reply all the auction winning email confirmations from the various accounts arranging different pickup times for the goods, agreeing to paying cash on pickup for everything. As the week goes on I cancel, reschedule, rain check and delay every pickup, bearing in mind I'm pretending to be a different person for each item from different SIM cards. On the day it arranged to pick up the car, it had been agreed previously that he could continue to use his car up until 2 days before leaving for Australia. Because I'm a nice guy like that, I text him that I'm on my way, see you at 1. I was late, of course. Nearly there, mate, see you soon. Half an hour later, 5 minutes away, 20 minutes later, I'm here, where are ya? Ignore the text messages and waited for the call. TW, where are you? Me, annoying isn't it? TW, what, me, annoying isn't it? TW, what do you mean, me, you know, having someone bid on your auction with no intention of buying it. TW, are you effing kidding? Me, no, I remember being quite annoyed when you did it to me. TW, who? When? Me, I'll let you figure that one out. Click. Over the next few hours I called him as the welder buyer, annoying isn't it? The motorbike buyer, annoying isn't it? Outdoor furniture buyer, annoying isn't it? All of them. To top it off I gave him positive feedback on everything I bought, saying he was a top trader, A+, easy pickup, good communication. In the coming weeks I was contacted by TradeMe regarding his dispute. He was wanting to get the success fees back, over $500 altogether I'd guess. I responded to each of those with the fact that I had already paid and picked it up and was happy with the item. Not sure if he got all those success fees back, but I very much doubt it. Man, proof of illness? Hope you have. I bleach. I had a boss one time who was such a control freak that she demanded to know specifically why I was calling out sick, wildly illegal where I live, one day. And for reference, I'm typically the guy who never gets sick, so it wasn't an attendance issue. I told her I think I had food poisoning. Turned out to be true, and actually wrote a ULPT based off this story a while back, and she kept pressing me as to explain what my symptoms were and why I couldn't make it, and all via text. I had finally had enough and was like, look, I'm not physically capable of working today and you are not allowed to ask me personal questions about illness and medical history. She threatened me with a write-up if I couldn't specifically explain/prove why I couldn't make it into work. This is where the pro-revenge comes in. I was about to send her something horrific, that she could not unsee, and she wouldn't be able to do jack shit about it, since she technically asked for it. Being that I was living in the bathroom for more than 2 days, this inquiry was day 1, and had aggressive diarrhea every 15 to 30 minutes and the worst abdominal pain I've ever experienced. I lost my shit, har, and took a pretty disturbing picture of me painting the bowl brown right before I flushed, and sent it to her. No joke, it looked like I power washed the inside of the toilet with feces and built a turd island in the middle of the water. It honestly looked like a poop volcano had erupted. I had no idea your bowels could contain so much. This is happening every 15 to 30 minutes and I haven't been able to leave the bathroom for the last 6 hours. Here is your proof, check the timestamp. Also sent a screen of the timestamp. I'll let you know as soon as I can if I'll be in tomorrow. So after 3 days off I show up for my shift, sleep deprived and sore from sleeping in my bathtub or on the floor for 2.5 days, asshole not having any of it, but I was finally through the worst. She immediately escorts me into her office where our regional HR rep is waiting for me, and we all sit down. He has paperwork in front of him and is discussing the incident with me and gets me to acknowledge what I did and that sending unprovoked and offensive content to coworkers constitutes harassment and blah 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 right before he asks me to sign a final write-up. If you do something like this again, "You're fired." Before signing I asked him, "Did she tell you why I sent this?" He was dumbfounded and said this isn't really excusable and basically handed me a screenshot printout of the text messages where this beach deleted everything in the exchange, in her phone, but me saying sorry, but I need to take a sick day today, and the picture. I laughed and handed him my phone and said here is the full exchange. He asked me to leave and give them a few minutes. About 10 minutes later he calls me in, by myself, and explained what I already knew, that she was the harasser and that she had aggressively violated privacy laws and would be dealt with, and to call him if anything like this ever happens again. I found out from one of the assistant managers that she ended up getting a final written notice and was super close to being fired, and it prevented her from getting a big promotion that she was being looked at for. So, if you ever come across a meathead boss who wants to play doctor and question your sick leave, send them diarrhea pics and they'll either STF you or give you lawsuit material.